day and welcome to Three Dudes and a Lady. Join us for a little inspiration, a little motivation, and perhaps a way to cope with your day. I am Mike Jones from Virginia. My gratitude this morning is for Mother Nature and the wild ride she's taken us on this week. We broke records for high temperatures on Tuesday, and yesterday it snowed an inch. So if you don't like the weather, stick around because it will change.
Yeah, I'll second that. I'll second that. My name is Earl Rule here in North Carolina. My gratitude for the day is actually the sun is out, even though the temperatures are only near 40. It's a little chilly and it's sweater weather today, but that's okay. We had some much needed rain yesterday. I know I was a part of it. Nice, but the sun is out, and it's the start of a new day, new ideas, and new growth.
Hello, everyone. My name's Jay Anderson from the wild, wonderful state of West Virginia. Come visit. All is welcome. But, anyways, my gratitude for the day, all is welcome. Can't even say that. Are welcome. Excuse my grammar. Once again, correction from West Virginia. Anyways, my gratitude for the day is I think it's awesome that a group of people can get together and enjoy one another on a platform and inspire one another. And during the process, learning new things about our own selves and how to carry ourselves. So I'm going to say my gratitude is for this platform.
Awesome. Hey guys, it's Christine Wright, hailing out of the great state of Florida. My gratitude for the day is rest. I needed some rest and I got a little bit, but I need more. But rest, it's good for your body. Today, Jay Shetty talked about the strength within us, right? When we go through tough times, finding sources of information to help us make it through it, right? He spoke of a Holocaust survivor, Dr. Edith Eger, and he talked about her resilience to help others get through their struggles, right? Because if you've heard anything about the Holocaust survivors, they struggled hard, right? Had to have a lot of resilience and grit to make it through that. But she ended up getting a degree in psychology, and she's written books, and those books have helped countless readers get through their struggles, right? And we can always look to others, or even her story, right, for strength, courage, and motivation as we try to overcome our own obstacles, right? And our obstacles might not be the same as what Edith went through, but as a Holocaust survivor, but we still have struggles, right? And we all have more resilience than what we actually think, right? It's kind of like having a hope that we can still get through that moment in the darkest moments, right? And he was basically trying to get at, like, who do you look for inspiration during those tough times, right? How do you normally approach tough times? Um, like it's crazy because yesterday I was talking to my daughter's therapist about, we were talking about a couple different things, but one of them was she wanted to do this retreat for young girls that were bullied or had some sort of trauma in their younger years, like my daughter, for instance, and, getting them together at like a little retreat type of thing, with horses and stuff like that, so that they could connect with one another, so they don't feel like they're all alone, right? Going through that all alone. It was kind of like Mike and I at our church last weekend. We went to a conference and there was a breakout for parenting teenagers, right? Well, and if you parented teenagers, you know how tough it can be, right? So, and sometimes you feel like you're in it all by yourself. And sometimes we just need a little hope and a little inspiration that we're not in it all by ourselves, right? Like everybody struggles in different ways, but getting through that and knowing that there's other people that are struggling the same, right? What do you guys think? Mike, you look a little perplexed.
I was thinking, do you mean that there's a format and a manual for raising teenagers?
No, there's no
I,
format or manual. I wished.
She was not
what?
suggesting that.
No, not by any means.
But even a focus group or whatever, wish I'd had that.
Yeah,
No, I'm
it was
thinking
super
I've
helpful.
heard.
It helped a lot. Like I felt so relieved coming out of that meeting, like, oh, okay, we're not in this alone. Like there's other
Yeah,
parents that are struggling with their teenage kids, right? It's
I
almost like
better.
it gives you some sort of hope that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, right? That you're not in this alone.
My son has matured greatly over the years, but when he was a teenager in high school, he was that kid that had to learn everything the hard way. And I can remember my wife and I on the first day of school saying, "We got him through another summer." Praise the Lord. I was also thinking, we have heard, or I have heard a story about this same concentration camp recently. I don't know if it was on this platform or something else I've read where um, it it was two sisters and only one of them survived, but it was a members of the soldiers, U.S. soldiers who came and liberated the camp. And I believe this story was that she ended up marrying one of the soldiers. But I don't recall where I heard that. Anyway, um, my other thought is he gave the example of, is it Dr. Eger?
Yep,
That her name?
eager.
Um, and also mentioned Nelson Mandela. It's amazing when you have this whole life ahead of you. She's lived to be 95 years old. I don't know how old Mandela was when he died, but your time to shine, your greatness was condensed by circumstances to a very short period of time. Mandela was in prison for 27 years for basically opposing the government. No other crime committed. But he took that short period of time that he knew he had at that point and became a world leader. This woman is counseling people who've had trauma and didn't get her PhD until she was 50.
Yeah, strong point. And I think it was the story that you heard earlier, because I'm looking her up as we speak, and they speak of uh, her parents when they were sent to the gas chamber.
Mm-hmm.
But Edith, her bravery kept her and her sister alive. So, uh, and it was an American soldier that actually saw her hand slightly move and realized that she was still living, and that he saved her. Now, I don't know. Uh, I don't know that he was the one that she married. It doesn't really state that. But anyways, interesting. This whole thing's interesting because this really piggybacks off of yesterday discussion of preventing overwhelm. So this he's taken a situation and starts talking about when you feel overwhelmed. And today he carries it forwards and he's giving possible solutions, discussing the strength that's within us. And I've as a kid growing up, how many times did you hear this? Eat your food because there's a lot of starving people, or
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, you think it's bad, you should see how some other people live in life. How many times did you hear phrases like that to try to make you recognize things? And I think that's something that Jay Shetty is really pushing in this narrative here. I think he's saying, look, guys, you probably have a tough situation, okay? But there's been a whole lot worse in life and have survived and come out on the other side to really be positive about it. And it's the positive mindset that we have to take. And and I think it's a great reminder. I had never heard of Edith Eger before. Okay, so this was a new thing for me, but it allowed me to maybe approach something and look at it at a different angle. So maybe when I do feel overwhelmed or uh, I just need inspired for whatever the reason may be, maybe this is the route that I can, you know, learned about the Holocaust as a kid, you know, uh, still yet, still yet, we forget about it because we move on with our daily lives. So sometimes something like this can be a friendly reminder of, do you think you have it bad? What about what about these guys during the Holocaust? I can't even imagine. I just can't imagine that. So it's interesting, but this is a strong point. This is a good resource for us to use.
Right. And I like what you just said, Jay, about like Jay's trying to get us to look to other people for inspiration to get out of the funk, right? Because what they went through was probably way worse than what we're facing, right? Now they are still our own battles, right? And I'm not diminishing our own battles, but at the same token, it doesn't compare to the struggles that Edith probably went through, right?
It just pales in comparison a
Yeah.
lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just means that we can get through it. If she can get through
Yeah,
it, why can't we?
it doesn't diminish
No.
the struggle that we feel, but it can, Mike, in your opening statement, possibly a way to cope in the real world is part of your opening statement there. And this
Mhm.
is part of that. This is part of how we cope in the real world. And I think that statement that you say in the beginning, Mike, is so pivotal because it's very meaningful when you break it down. Earl, what you feeling, buddy?
Yeah, Earl, you've been quiet. Come on.
Waiting for my turn to talk. I figured Jay Anderson's doing his
Oh,
Sunday
Earl,
preaching
hold
on
on
Friday.
hold on a second. I got another thing. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, good morning, folks. Um, I know this was mentioned on yesterday's podcast, but I don't know. It just keeps sticking in my head. And the word guardrails. The reason why is because we try not to compare ourselves to others, but what we know when we go through our struggles, and whether we have somebody that we can lean on, whether it's a mentor, a family member, somebody that we can our go to, just to get us back into the comfort zone, even though every day we're getting out of our comfort zone to learn more about ourselves and to whatever it is in life. Because let's face it, at some point you got to get out of your comfort zone, but you're growing within yourself. But you guys talked about some people that were very less fortunate than us in the life that they lived. I mean, you can look at that and say, well, I count my blessings every day for what I have, and you should take that and learn from it. And the reason why I bring up the word guardrails is because I think we need those guardrails in our lives to make sure that we don't compare ourselves to others, to jump on that, to fall off our path, and to stay on the path of whatever it is we need. Because there will be challenges, and you will have those days where you just want to throw something against the wall, and you know. But at the end of the day, it's what you learn from it, and it's up to ourselves to take that and knowing that tomorrow is another day, there'll be a better day. Life is short. We should just take what we have and learn from it. I know,
Well,
I know sometimes it's better said than done, Jay, and I know you got an opposing point on that. But at what I'm trying to say is, it's okay to to observe what other people have been through and give them grace to if they became a better person to what they are today. But always become the best version of yourself every day, even though if you go through those struggles.
I want to comment on something you said, Jay. Our parents told us they're starving kids somewhere, eat your dinner. You're
Mhm.
fortunate. Uh, Obviously, if you were born in the United States of America in the 20th or 21st century, you were born with one foot on third base and the other foot going toward home, right? But it didn't impact me at the time. But I grew up in a diverse community, farm community, and I have been in houses that didn't have running water. I have been in houses that didn't have floors. That house that didn't have a floor was cleaner than some of the others I've been into. I would not hesitate to eat a meal that was cooked in that house when those people lived in it. But you know, our innate primitive brain with the will to survive for most of us hasn't really been tested.
woo, what a statement.
And we don't know what we would do in those situations. I'd also encourage you, if you haven't done it, visit the Holocaust Museum. Just the display they have of piles and piles of shoes would just it gets you.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Go ahead, Earl. Sorry.
No, you're good. You what Mike just said, it reminded me. I just had a trigger moment of I believe it was 2022 at my old church up in Massachusetts. I went on my first missions trip to the Dominican Republic. Now, when I got there, the leaders and my pastor warned us: do not drink the water. Period. You are to have bottled water 24/7, 365, no excuses. If you take a shower in your hotel, do not ingest the water. Simple as that. That made me think I'm very grateful for my leaders in leading that pack for clean water. Now, when I was over in the Dominican Republic, one of the things that I was assigned to do was to help the low income families over there that didn't have clean drinking water. We brought I believe they're specialized pumps. They're used to help purify the water. We help bring some clean drinking water with some special equipment. And I'll tell you what, that to me was an eye-opening experience. But also, when you talk about food, I gotta tell you, the Dominicans, they know how to cook. No two ways about it. They know how to cook. And I had a good meal. And the pastor, now we had plans to venture out to some of the restaurants in there, but the people at the church nearby that was kind of hosting us, they would be totally insulted if we didn't have a meal with them. And
Mm.
the pastor made it perfectly clear. Let's respect their culture. Let's have a meal with the people. So, and I'm kind of glad we did because I was amazed. And even these people, I mean, they live on literally on a dime. I mean, what they live in, but they're very happy with the effort and the love that they put into their food. But also, when we go to church, the love that they show us, the unconditional love, was there. So being grateful for what you have in front of you, even if you're in a different country, in a different culture, you just never know what life's going to bring you. And sometimes it could be an eye-opening, life-changing experience.
And
So,
can you imagine going? I've witnessed this firsthand because I was deployed for the war, right?
mhm.
So, can you imagine living in a country where you cannot drink the water? Like the water is not healthy to drink, right? Like we take it for granted that we can just go out and turn on our water faucet and drink water and be fine
We do.
and not get sick, right? I mean, just something as little as that. I can't even like, Earl, you just brought that up in me because like I remember when we were deployed, like I lived in a tent, like in the middle of the desert. And there wasn't like we had portable, everything was porta potties and portable shower type thing. But we couldn't drink the water. We had bottled water for days, right? Because that's what we had to brush our teeth with. That's what we had to use all the time. It wasn't like you could just drink the water.
Right.
Where we can just open or turn on our faucet and drink our water. It's just crazy to me, right?
So what Earl discussed, what you brought forth, and Mike said is exactly, you're firing on all cylinders on what Jay Shetty was discussing today. Because the fact that, I think you said it best, Christine, is as the example here is that we take water for granted here. Okay. We take a lot of things for granted here. Why? Because we have the freedom that we have where we live and what's been given to us. And sometimes, and Earl, you said something earlier, talking about getting yourself in that uncomfortable state. And sometimes we need that feeling to humble us a little bit, or not even humble us, but maybe to make us, it should be part of our gratitude on a daily basis, the things that we take for granted. That should be mentioned because it makes you think about things. It provokes thought. And that's all Jay Shetty's trying to get us to do is to think about it. He's trying to provoke the thought. And I think everybody has done a tremendous job on what they see on this. Strength can come in so many different shapes, forms, sizes. And Jay Shetty was just giving us a glimpse of what it could be if we pull in from the inspiration angle. And I think that's a pretty heavy angle to lean on.
And Jay, one other thing I wanted to talk about in that Dominican trip, I I am not the smartest person when it comes to building or constructing anything. I don't think God made me to become a construction engineer by any means, but I learned to lay down floor. I learned to lay down brick to build a school. That's one of the reasons why I went there. In that hot heat, 95 degrees Fahrenheit, humidity 80%. Now we had some helpers to make sure we had 3 Gatorade buckets full of ice, half Gatorade, half water, because we went through that stuff like I go through iced tea. And I gotta tell you, but the hard work, it's a lesson. You learn your lesson about building, and you're helping a child. Because I remember that Saturday morning, as a team of us was still building, I was sent to a school with like 5 other individuals to show them, the children, what they do in everyday life, the poor children when they go to school, what we are doing for the kids. And I'm gonna tell you, that was an eye-opening experience for me, and how we can learn from that. What we have here in the United States, people don't realize what great resources we have to be better people, and people take that for granted. So, I could go off on a tangent. I'll shut up. But it's just I just think it's an eye-opening thing, in today's world. You know what we go through, and we should count our blessings to what we have.
Yes. So let me throw this at you, Earl. Would you say, as for you as an individual,
Hmm.
that you have trials and tribulations on a daily basis?
Of course.
Okay. Imagine if you were in some of the people that we've been talking about in their shoes, what their trials and tribulations were. And I think that's the angle that Jay's trying to draw the strength from is, just the simple trials and tribulations that we go through. And please don't misconstrue it. I'm not calling it simple or simple-minded or not important, because it is important to us as individuals. We're the ones that are going through it, okay? But imagine what our day would really look like if, let's say, if we were at the camp, or Edith was, or Earl, you witnessed firsthand the kids not having drinking water.
Mhm. And another thing I want to add in there, and Christine, you probably can kind of, how sometimes we're at a traffic light, you see these homeless people, you give them $1, just to get them through. No. Listen to me. I could
Yes,
not.
you do give them $1. Yes,
I
you do.
I couldn't. I was told never, never, never do that in the Dominican, because if you give it to one person, 12 other people are going to follow you, and then you're going to cause a problem. They
Yeah.
said if somebody holds their hand for money, just walk away. I mean, I shake their hand, show them peace, but walk away, because you don't want to be, you know I can't find the proper terminology for it. I apologize, but it's just, I mean, you want to be a good example, but the pastor told me you want to be a good example, smile at them and say good morning, good afternoon, and walk away.
Well, one thing you have to be careful with on it, and when we, as a city, the city of Beckley just passed an ordinance and no panhandling. And
Good.
now they're having signs put up, and they're facing what the Department of Transportation will allow for signage. So, there's all kinds of laws for signage where we are, which I'm probably assume is most everywhere. But the thing of it is, what you have to be careful is, what are you enabling when you help? And what are the proper channels? And one of the things that I feel like we're trying to do in our area is educate everyone.
Hmm.
And, part of the education is, if you want to do that, then why not go to helping hands,
Hmm.
food banks, things of that nature to help out. Now, I'm not saying that's what you have to do. Okay. It is a personal preference, but it's a, a, hey, listen, the homeless can be pulled into this conversation too. Imagine finding drinking water,
Or any water.
or anyone. Well,
Well, because you'd have to go to somebody's, like, like a spigot outside their house.
Mhm.
listen, but the building to the left of my dad's office building provides that spigot in an alleyway.
Yes.
So what do we have? People who take baths during the summertime in the alleyway. So I, there's a cause and effect reaction to everything that takes place. And I don't want to lose sight of today's message, because Jay Shetty does a beautiful job with this one for sure.
You talked about us having our own trials and tribulations. I think one of the reasons we don't talk about them a lot is there's always somebody else in a worse condition. I've never had to take a shower in an alleyway.
But there's also choices that we make in life that direct us or direct our path a little, right? Each choice, each step you're taking in that choice is going to take you one way or another, right? So the
Right.
choices in your life did not lead you to taking a bath in the alleyway. Just
But to
saying.
go back to Edith,
Yeah.
all her choices were taken away from her.
Yes.
It was not self-induced for
No.
Her only
You didn't have a choice.
her only crime was basically being Jewish.
Yep. Basically. And it's terrible to think like religion like plays a role in what happens to somebody, right? And how they're treated, and I don't know.
I just, again, I go back to say, I could not imagine. To add insult to injury, for her to be able to speak about it when she was a teenager, the most important time in a human's life for development really start. I mean, I understand it starts at an earlier age, but the most important time, because as a teenager, you are conceptually trying to understand, and that's what you understand. I mean, I don't know. Well, folks, I think it's obvious to see that we're not licensed therapists. Yes, we do and can touch on some horrific events, but it is through those events that Jay Shetty is trying to enlighten us. Maybe that's where we can draw inspiration and strengthen our own self. It's okay to voice your emotions. It's okay to keep them to yourself as long as you can handle them. So please join us and listen to the platform. It is something that hopefully inspires people in a way. Guys, we do not, the four of us do not have hard lives compared to a lot. We might think we do, but the reality is our own trials and tribulations are just that, our own. And this can be a way to help cope with it.
And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Please come back for more. And we hope to all see you soon. Have a great weekend.
Peace.